All right, perfect. So let me go ahead and introduce everyone. My name is Marlene, and I am the Director of Marketing for UMass Dining. We're excited to have you all join us for our actually not first, but second potato special here on campus. Potato Glory and UMass Dining have really spent the semester, I think Greg and I can attest to that, collaborating on tonight's not only special, but the menu on the culinary side and operations team, which has been featured tonight specifically at Worcester Commons. We have a great presentation from obviously Greg Meeker. He's the Director of Business Development for HCPC, which is a global market leader in seed potato trading, which he can tell you a little bit more about. We also have Chef Alex Ong, who's the Director of Culinary Excellence here at UMass, and he's actually going to be demonstrating some recipes tonight highlighting this delicious vegetable. So Greg, why don't you go ahead and let them know.
Yes, welcome everyone, and thanks for joining from Potato Land here in Meridian, Idaho. I am Greg Meeker, and as Marlene said, I am the Director of Business Development for the Global Potato Seed Trading Company, HZPC, and our Potato Glory brand is our North American brand for consumer potatoes. So we'll be doing this from a Potato Glory perspective. It is our new brand. We have a new website up and we're working on an app. So welcome to Potato Days Part 2. I have a little bit of a presentation for you and I'd like you to stick around for it because at the end we will have a quiz where there's prizes involved. So if you'd like to win some cool gift cards and UMass swag, stick around. So I'm going to share my screen right now and we'll go ahead and get this presentation going. So again, pay attention. If you're not careful, you might learn something. And again, we do have potatoes, not potatoes, well, we have potatoes to eat, and then we have prizes at the end. So let me go ahead and get started here. Bear with me here while I start the slideshow. All right, here we go. If you're paying attention, you might get a quiz question right at the end. So hang in there. So this is the UMass Potato Glory Discovery Tour where we celebrate America's favorite vegetable, and that would be the potato. Let's spend some time right now studying spuds. We're going to talk tonight about potato sensory traits, tips for cooking with potatoes, and potato nutrition facts. Yes, potatoes are good for you. Potatoes are a vegetable. Potatoes have excellent sensory traits. They taste great, they smell great, and they cook very, very well. Not all potatoes look the same, and not all potatoes taste the same. Hopefully, when we're done, you will have learned why. Did you know there's thousands of varieties of potatoes grown around the world? When you go to the grocery store, you probably see brown potatoes and yellow potatoes and red potatoes, but there's way, way more than that. Every one of those varieties has, every one of those types, a russet, a yellow, has a number of different varieties. They have different names, they have different traits, they have different flavors. They're all different, which makes potatoes really, really excellent. I want to refer you to our website to show you some of the potato profiles that we have. When you look at potatoes, you can see them in a number of different ranges in terms of size, in terms of how they look, but there's more to it than just the name and the shape. We breed potatoes for how they cook. And if you were at the last event, you noticed that we were featuring frying potatoes. You will notice that their skin color is different, but what's inside is what's really, really important. And how people describe it. We describe potatoes in terms of flavor and in terms of texture. And that's how we differentiate potatoes. We try to segment them into what are called clusters. So we're going to look at a couple of potatoes tonight that are going to fit into a really nice profile. So if you're here for the last one, you tried some of the potato dishes. We use a variety called Annabelle. Annabelle is a long oval potato. It's very, very firm, slightly creamy, mild buttery flavor. But its firm flesh makes it great for cold dishes and also for doing noodles. Today, we're going to feature two varieties. We're going to be doing Columba, which is a yellow flesh, yellow skin potato. It's very soft, smooth, and creamy. Um, it has many, many different methods, but it's not a good frying potato. I'll tell you why in just a minute. Cipra is a round white potato. Has a very light yellow skin, cream colored flesh. It's very smooth and creamy. It makes the best mashed potatoes in the world. Again, it's not a good fryer, and I'll tell you why. Potato sensory properties are impacted by the variety. We can see a lot of things in potatoes. We can see skin colors, we can cut them open, we can see flesh colors, we can see shapes, but what can we feel? When we eat this, does it have a different bite to it? The answer is yes. Does it have a different mouthfeel to it? Does it have a different finish when you eat it? Yes. When you cut them open, do they have different aromas? Yes. And some of the things we can smell are variation in aroma. Some of them are they smell very fresh, or they smell they have a very kind of earthy scent to them. What we can taste, variation in flavor, variation in aftertaste. We find that potatoes have very different flavors, and I'll show you why. When we talk about taste in potatoes from a consumer perspective, we talk about that in terms of we talk about texture in terms of firmness, moisture, and creaminess. And these terms are given a range. So we talk about potatoes whether they're firm, very firm, medium firm, soft, or rather soft. We talk about texture, and again, I'm referring to texture. We're talking about potato texture in terms of moisture. Are they moist, very moist, rather moist, dry? And then we talk about them in terms of creaminess, very creamy, medium creamy, or low creamy. When we talk about potato taste, we talk about these from in terms of butteriness. How much buttery flavor does it do? And these terms come from surveys that we've done with several thousand people to have them describe potatoes. They always tend to do a flavor range in terms of how buttery it is, how intense the flavor is, and how smooth it is when you eat it. So buttery is given a range: buttery, some buttery, not buttery. Intensity: high intensity, medium high, low, or very low. Creaminess is very smooth, medium smooth, or not smooth at all. None of this is negative. It all has a place in how you select a potato for how you're going to prepare it and how you're going to eat it. So to pick the perfect potato, you want to determine how you want to cook the potato. So again, what I was telling you before is that the varieties that we're trying tonight aren't great for frying. And the reason why is because they are either too soft, or they have too much, they have sugar in them, and they'll brown too quickly. They just won't cook very well in the fryer. So we're looking at potatoes tonight that are great for roasting, that are great for mashing, that are great for general eating. Need to decide what ingredients you want to use with them. If fats are going to be used, like butter, if you're going to use like a mashed potato with lots of butter, or a baked potato, then one that's not real buttery will work great. And if not, then a buttery potato is more desired. You have to consider texture when you're picking the perfect potato. A cold preparation like a potato salad needs a really firm potato. A roast potato will need to be more moist and creamy. A baked potato will be best using a more dry potato to achieve that nice powdery like fluffiness. A mashed potato, you'll want to have moisture and softness. Makes it easier to mash. It comes out very smooth and creamy. Need to consider flavor. Healthier fats can be used if a potato has a high buttery trait. You can use things like avocado oil, or olive oil, or corn oil, vegetable oil, canola, to make this. And what that does, if the potato is more buttery, it tends to be a little bit more easy to prepare. Whereas a potato that's getting a lot of ingredients, like you're doing a mashed potato that has a lot of things like cheese or butter or other kinds of things that you're going to put in it, then a potato doesn't need really high flavor traits because you're adding things to it. More simple preparations can take advantage of varieties that have higher flavor traits. Again, simple is great when the potato has a high buttery trait, a high intensity of potato flavor, because then you can get by with just salt, pepper, a little bit of oil. Did you know that potatoes are vegetables? They're vegetables. It's not a starch. It's not a total entity on its own. It is a vegetable. And Alex, why don't you pick up a potato there and take a cut in it, and we'll take a look at the inside.
Colombo, and see how amazingly beautiful and yellow it is.
Alex, can you give that a little bit of a smell? Can you tell me what aromas you're picking up on that one?
To be honest, somebody's wearing perfume in here.
Oh,
and I'm having a hard time picking it up. Yves Saint Laurent. My apologies, but
Colombo's going to have a really nice, fresh, buttery aroma to it. Now, Colombo, that's going to be a buttery potato with a medium-high flavor intensity. It's considered to be smooth, creamy, very moist, and soft. This makes it great for roasting, for mashing, for anything but frying. This potato will do very well. We have done Colombo on just a char broiler with a little bit of chipotle aioli, and it's absolutely stunning. Alex, you want to cut open one of those cifras for us?
I'm sorry.
Do you want to cut open one of those cifras for us?
The citrus, yes.
Now, again, we said Cifra was a what we consider to be a white variety. It's going to have a nice ivory skin and ivory flesh. This potato is buttery as well, but it has a very high flavor intensity. It's considered to be smooth also in terms of flavor. In terms of texture, it's creamy and it's rather soft. Now, what this potato excels in is mashed. It does the best mashed potatoes you'll ever want to eat. And because it has a really high flavor, you can do this potato mashed with things like broth instead of using cream. You can do it with less fatty oils instead of butter, and it's going to taste fantastic. It's going to come out smooth. And instead of using cream, also, you could use skim milk. And one of the preparations that we have on our website, you take Cifra and you mash it with an herb-infused skim milk instead of cream. They come out nice and healthy, and they taste fantastic. So I'm going to end saying that potatoes are vegetables. Potatoes are nutritious. And that potatoes are a good source of fiber. We're going to come back to that for our little quiz section. And I'm going to turn this over to Alex to do a really great cooking presentation using the Colombo and the Cifra. Alex, take it away.
Oh, thank you. Good evening, everybody. So we're going to start off with the Colombo potatoes, and we're going to do a Hasselback potatoes. Hasselback is basically just sliced potatoes, and it's almost like an accordion. And we bake it off and fill it with cheese and let it put it back in the oven and melt it. Now, here's a little trick. Chopsticks, right? We use this as a guide so we don't cut all the way through. So
that's a great idea, Alex. I always cut through my Hasselbacks.
When I was a kitchen apprentice, we used to have to do this all the time. And you learn that after 50 pounds of potatoes, you better have at least 40 pounds that's ready to go for service. If not, you're gonna hear it from the chef. So it has almost an accordion thing. So essentially, we just put it on the baking tray, a little bit of olive oil, right? And then just season it. Salt, we use kosher salt. And a little bit of fresh black pepper. and preheat the oven to 350 degrees. We put it in there for about 30 minutes, depending on the size, 30 minutes to about 40 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to show you one that we have already pre-done. So this is essentially what it looks like. See that it comes in looking like a little accordion, right? So why do we do this? Because we want to put all that goodness of cheese, any kind of cheese that has a good melting point. Here we got mozzarella, cheddar, and Gruyere. Or you can use Swiss cheese to be fine too, right? So essentially we're gonna sprinkle it on there, get it all in between.
And Alex, Hasselback potatoes are wildly popular right now, aren't they?
They are. The food bloggers are absolutely going crazy about it, right? And it's a good classic way to eat potatoes. It's fun. Potatoes and rich salty cheese. You can't beat that. All right. So let's put it on here. And we're gonna put it back into the oven for about 5 to 8 minutes. Okay, and then we'll come back and finish it off. So now let's go on to the next dish. So this is a dish that is synonymous with a city in China called Xi'an, right? And they do the cumin potatoes. So I've used the cifras, right, and chilies, any kind of dried chilies. We want to give that smoky flavor to it, right? Just tear it up. You can soak it in water and just tear it up. All right. And then the potatoes, you can put it in here. You can add garlic. And then we're gonna do a confit. Confit is essentially slow cooking in a fat. This we're gonna use olive oil. And you can reuse this olive oil over and over. And you can use it for other applications. If you're making let's just say a pasta scampi dish, a little bit of flavor from the garlic and the chilies, absolutely delicious. We can add rosemary in there, perfectly fine. So we're gonna cook this about 300 degrees, cover with a piece of foil, and we're gonna cook it for maybe about 45 minutes till it's nice and soft and tender. All right.
Alex, that looks way healthier than the duck confit that I always enjoy eating.
If you want to splurge, you can always use duck fat. Yeah. So. And essentially, it'll come up looking like this. So the garlic is cooked. The oil is very flavorful, right? The potatoes are cooked all the way through. And one way to test the potatoes is basically whether they're cooked is use a knife, smaller one preferably. Yeah, let me just kind of push it through. It goes all the way through without any kind of resistance. If you feel that the blade has a little bit of kind of that grittiness to it, and it still needs a little bit of cooking time. Okay, so we'll just transfer this onto a tray. And if you go to the streets, the night markets in Xi'an, in China, right? You see them making it on the streets. They have big vats of potatoes cooking with the in the fat, and essentially they just take out what you need and put it in a little skillet and heat it up and add all the spices to it. So what I'm gonna do, right? I'm gonna put it on a tray. I'm gonna take another similar size tray, put it over the top, and kind of push it down, flatten it, right? Why do I do that? Because I want to pan sear this to crisp up the skin a little bit. That will give it that texture, that surface for the spices and the seasoning to cling on to. Right, that is important.
Alex, let me ask you a question. What kind of fat do they use to cook the potatoes in China? What kind of fat do they use there?
They use a mixture of lamb fat and vegetable oil.
Okay.
Lamb fat gives it a little bit of gaminess, and it's absolutely delicious. So right now, I'm gonna heat up the pan, okay, with a little bit of canola oil, and we're gonna pan sear it. Okay. Potatoes are warm. Okay. Just let it sit and brown. Add a little bit of garlic on there. Okay. And sorry, on my hand. And we're gonna season it. We got cumin. We got Szechuan peppercorn. The Szechuan peppercorn we toast it in the oven or in a pan over the stove, right? And grind it down. Okay. So I'll make sure it's not too high heat that's gonna start burning the garlic. And then we have chili powder, a little bit of garlic which already added, chili oil, scallions, you can put cilantro too if you want to, a little bit of sugar, and black vinegar. Black vinegar, this is a Chinese aged vinegar, but you can also use the balsamic just to give it a little bit of that beautiful acidity, right? And essentially, just gonna flip it. If you see that it's starting to brown, that's what
Looks
we want.
fantastic. Wow.
Yeah, it smells really good here right now.
I
Right.
can smell it from here in Idaho.
So,
Hey, Alex,
all we wanna
how does that black vinegar compare to balsamic? Is it as sweet or is it a little more acidic or?
It is quite acidic. Now, if you can also source an aged vinegar, that's a little bit more mellow, and the flavor is very much caramelized. It's absolutely beautiful. So either one of those will work very, very well. You know, so even if it's broken, it's perfectly fine. So we'll just transfer this, turn off the flame. I'll make sure to turn off the fire, and then we put it onto a bowl here, and we start adding all the spices. Cumin. Now remember that the spices, once it hits all the hot potato, it's gonna start blooming. The flavors, they're gonna wake up and go like, ooh, there's a party going on here. Szechuan peppercorn, and chili, depends on how spicy you want it, right? And then chili oil. Right, this is basically canola oil and cook it down to chili flakes. Vinegar. And then a bit of sugar, just enough to counter that vinegar itself. So you're gonna have that beautiful sweet sour flavor.
Alex, my mouth is watering. Can you pass some of those this way?
Absolutely. So this is absolutely delicious. And it's usually served like a little snack when you're walking through the market in a little container of that. And I'm gonna garnish with a lot of fresh herbs, cilantro, scallions. All right, there we go. That's one.
That looks fantastic. Wow.
All right. So
How
with
simple was that?
Yeah, it's super simple. And with the potatoes, you see the potatoes are all, look at how amazing it is, right? All the cheese is melted. It just screams, yippee. So this, you're gonna put it onto the plate. And I like the potatoes to be a little bit small. Sometimes you get a big potato. Because here we truly believe that the plate of food should not be bigger than your head. That's the first general rule. Right? We've made our own crème fraîche. What is crème fraîche? It's just a cultured sour cream, for lack of a better term. So we took heavy cream and we took buttermilk and we mix it together and let it cover it with a piece of cheese cloth and let it sit overnight just to get that bacteria to do its work. Right? It has a little bit of tang, super fresh in flavor. And what we like to do is just put a little dollop. And it's super light. It's not like heavy, and it doesn't cling to you. The flavors are very clean.
Yeah, it's
right?
easier to make than you think. It's really easy to make. That's great.
Yeah. And then all we have is good old American chopped bacon, smoked chopped bacon. And then fresh chives. All right, there we go. Now, for the Xi'an potatoes, if you say, I want something to dip to it, it's spicy, it's salty, I took a stem creme fraiche. I put salt, chives, a little bit of black pepper in it, fresh oranges,
Oh, wow.
all right? Just to give it a little bit more of that citrusy acid. And just mix it. I can hear my my chef in my head going, "You need a bigger bowl to mix that thing in." That is all right. So we'll just do a dollop of that here, dollop here. So it's sweet, a little bit sour, salty, spicy, has that garlicky flavor to it. And then you have that beautiful freshness from the orange juice that is with the creme fraiche and chives. So there we go.
That looks amazing. And
straightforward.
what's really great about that, Alex, especially that finishing sauce, you're able to infuse fruit into the potato dish too. So that's absolutely remarkable.
Well, thank you.
Nicely done.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you know, I can just smell and taste that from here, and I'm really envious that I'm not being able to try that. So what you saw Alex do is take two really nice varieties of potatoes that are buttery in nature and actually make them into something really fantastic with a minimum amount of ingredients. You saw how easy that was to prepare. So we've determined that potatoes are easy to prepare. They're delicious. They don't require a whole lot of ingredients to do great things with. Alex introduced a couple really great techniques. But let's talk about potatoes from a nutrition side. So we said before that potatoes are vegetables. When you remember that a potato is a vegetable, then a whole new world opens up for you in how you feel about potatoes and how you'll eat them. Potatoes are nutritious. They are low in calories. They're literally fat free, low sodium, high in nutrients, and they're a great source of fiber. Let's look at that a little bit further. And they're also a great source of potassium. We'll talk about that in a minute. So from a nutrient perspective, what is a potato? You saw Alex cut that potato open. What you see here on the screen is one of the columbas that he was using. What you see on the outside is always way different than what you see on the inside. From a nutrient perspective, a potato is 79% water. Like a lot of produce, it's a lot of water. Carbohydrate, 15%. So when you think about potatoes in terms of being high in carbohydrates, that's not necessarily true. It is a carbohydrate type of vegetable, but it's not as high as you think. Dietary fiber, 2%, high in fiber. Protein, 2%. It has protein in it as well. Fatty acids, less than 0.1%, virtually zero fat in potatoes. And vitamins and minerals, 2%. So what you see here is nearly what we would call a superfood. Potatoes are not only delicious and fun to eat and fun to prepare, but they're good for you. Every variety has nutritional differences. For example, Columba, the one that Alex used for the Hasselback potato, in 1 cup of Columba, there's only 87 calories, less than 100. There's no fat, saturated fat, or cholesterol. There's 2.1 to 3 grams of dietary fiber, depending on how you cook it. 2.9 grams of protein, 18 milligrams vitamin C, 6 milligrams of calcium, and wow, look, 480 milligrams of potassium. The stiffer that you saw Alex make that great Asian potato dish with has in 1 cup 108 calories, 23 grams of carbs. There's no fat, saturated fat, or cholesterol. 2.7 grams of dietary fiber, 3.5 grams of protein. So it has a little bit higher protein content than Columba. And one thing I did put on Columba is that Columba has less than 20 grams of carbs per 1 cup. 15 milligrams of vitamin C, a little bit more calcium, and look at the potassium in that. What I'm trying to tell you is this, is that not every potato is the same, and they all have nutritional differences. It really just depends on but those differences, though they are noticeable, they're fairly negligible, in that if you look at a potato as something as being nutritious, low in calories, no fat, lots of fiber, protein, vitamin C, and again, a lot of potassium. So as you look at potatoes and you think about them differently, check out the nutrition on the potato. So let's do a quiz. Marlene, do we have anybody in the audience ready to do a quiz?
Yes, so let me go ahead and have, we're gonna borrow Chef Alex Ong's laptop and go ahead and get some students who volunteered to, let's see. There you go.
Hello,
Tell me your name.
my name's Shelby.
Hi, Shelby.
Hi.
Were you not careful and did you learn about potatoes today?
Yes, I learned about potatoes.
Are you gonna look at potatoes differently?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, now I know a lot more.
Are you going to enjoy them more?
Oh yes, I love potatoes so much.
That's excellent. So a quick quiz. The first part of this question is pretty obvious, but well, it may not be so obvious, but which contains more fiber? A cup of potatoes or a cup of strawberries? Now I'll give you 3 choices. Does it have more fiber, the same fiber, or less fiber, the potato?
Isn't it potatoes that have more fiber than the strawberries, right?
That's not quite correct, but I'm going to give you a prize anyway. 1 cup of baked potato contains as much fiber as 1 cup of fresh strawberries. So it has as much, and some varieties might actually contain a little bit more. So I'll go ahead and give you the benefit of the doubt on that one. So tell Shelby what she's won.
Shelby, you won a UMass Dining prize pack, which includes a $50 gift card and then a UMass Dining tea, water bottle, and hat.
Excellent. Excellent. Perfect for the Frozen 4. I got to say, first of all, I was giving away cars, but I'm all out. So we'll have to stick with the UMass.
Cars. Yeah, I could have used that.
So we'll stick with the UMass swag. So do we have another contestant?
Hi.
Tell me your name, please.
My name is Kirsten.
Hi, Kirsten. How about you? Did you learn about potatoes tonight?
I learned a lot about potatoes today. Yes.
Are you going to enjoy them more?
I'm definitely looking forward to eating UMass potatoes. Yeah.
That's awesome. Great answer. I'm sure I'll be happy to hear that. And I'm jealous because you'll be eating them and I won't. So quick question for you. Which contains the fewest calories, the least carbohydrate, and the most fiber? Is it rice, potatoes, or pasta?
From what I've learned, it's potatoes.
You know what? You are exactly right, and you have won. Per 1 cup of portion, baked potatoes contain fewer calories, less carbohydrate, and more fiber. So well done. I love that you qualified that answer by saying that that's what you learned tonight. So tell her what she's won. Tell Kirsten what she's won.
Thank you.
Kristen, you're also going home with a $50 gift card and a UMass Dining prize pack, which includes a hat, a UMass Dining tea, and a water bottle.
Yay.
Excellent. 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 One more contestant. One more question.
Hi.
Hello, and who are you?
Hi, I'm Gloria.
Hi, Gloria. Did you learn about potatoes tonight?
Yeah, more than they did actually.
Oh yeah, okay. All right. That's bold.
just
Tell me
wanted
what
to-
you
I
learned
just
about
wanted to put
potatoes
that-
tonight.
Sorry?
Say that again, please.
Wait, sorry, I didn't hear you.
Say that again, please. I didn't quite catch what you said.
I was just
Hear
saying
your
that
question,
I didn't hear
Greg.
what you previously said.
Greg, go ahead
All
and
right.
repeat your question.
Here's the question. Which contains more potassium? A potato or a banana? We know bananas are high in potassium, but which contains more?
I think potatoes.
That is correct. But for the prize, I'm going to give you a little, how much more potassium, if you want to take a stab, how much more potassium do potatoes have in terms of percentage?
Percentage. More than a banana?
Yeah, how much more potassium does a potato contain than a banana?
I think it's like 20% more.
You know, it's close enough. I'm going to give you the prize anyway. But
Oh, okay.
actually, potatoes contain 60% more potassium per serving than
Oh.
bananas.
That's a lot more.